fact that he was going to meet people who had given up on their dreams, because there are people who are what you are dreaming about, they don't have any dreams, and the journey does not just come along with fulfillment and joy. Sometimes there's pain, sometimes there's confusion, sometimes there's lack of clarity, sometimes there is doubt. The boy said that the king did not tell him that when you have money to buy a larger flock, you should buy it. But 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I'm very sure that if God had sat me down and had told me about all the things that were going to happen to me on my journey from that time to today, I know I would have said that, God, it is okay. Psalm 119 verse 105, the SU anthem was this: your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself, and welcome to today's personal development class, episode 10. My name is Dr. Rosemond Osei-Kranton, and we are still gleaning valuable lessons from the all-time classic, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Today we begin our discussion with a passage from page 279. I'm using the e-copy of the book. But the old king hadn't said anything about being robbed, or about endless deserts, or about people who know what their dreams are but don't want to realize them. The old king hadn't told him that the pyramids were just a pile of stones, or that anyone could build one in his backyard. And he had forgotten to mention that when you have enough money to buy a flock larger than the one you had before, you should buy it. The king, when he met the boy, told the boy a lot of things, including encouraging him to go find his treasure. But there were a lot of things that up until this point had happened to the boy that the king never mentioned, the details of what was going to happen between when he started the journey and the end, the disappointment, the detours, the painful U-turns. So many things were happening to the boy that were not part of the discussion at the time he met with divinity, at the time he met with the king, at the time he met with God, and God revealed his purpose to him and asked him to go get it. The king talked about following your dreams and listening to your heart, but he did not mention to the boy that at some point you are going to be robbed by somebody you trusted, somebody you thought was there to help you, was going to rob you, and you were going to lose everything. The king did not tell him that. The king did not tell him about long, difficult deserts. We'll discuss that desert in a few minutes. The king did not tell him about the fact that he was going to meet people who had given up on their dreams, because there are people who are what you are dreaming about, they don't have any dreams, and when you are pursuing your dreams, they think that you are doing too much, or you are too much, or you are stressing too much. The king did not tell him that he was going to meet people like that. The king did not tell him about the times when you be disappointed, the times when you be afraid, the times when you be alone, the times when you question your own sanity, the times when you question your own purpose and destiny. The king did not tell him that there were times in your journey where you come to a place that is comfortable and you want to give up on your dream and settle here because this is good enough. In simple terms, the boy did not realize at the beginning that following your dream was that complicated. It's not a simple thing. When you decide to follow your dream, it is not a simple thing at all. He is beginning to learn that dreams will cost you. It is not enough to be inspired. You read a book, you watch a podcast like this, you watch somebody talk, or you see how somebody has turned their life around, and you are inspired to pursue your own dream. Yes, the inspiration is only the starting point, but to actually pursue your dream, it will cost you something. It will cost you something. And the journey does not just come along with fulfillment and joy. Sometimes there's pain. Sometimes there's confusion. Sometimes there's lack of clarity. Sometimes there is doubt. Sometimes there are setbacks and painful U-turns. Sometimes you have to go all the way back to the beginning or a little further down the road and redirect your course. It's like playing snake and ladders. Have you ever played snake and ladders? Or you go, then you land at a spot and there's a snake with the mouth wide open to swallow you and bring you from stage 12 down to stage 3. But you still need to get to your destination. And so despite the setback, you have to keep moving forward. When you start to see success, in the beginning of your dream, things are bad. Then as you pursue it, you start to see success. And early success sometimes is a temptation. There's a temptation for you to settle. So for example, somebody like me, daughter of a kinky seller, first doctor in the family. For a lot of people, that is okay. Hey, who me tondo kunuwa beye doctor. Eden biom na wo hwehwe. Sometimes early success can make you want to settle. It's a temptation. There is a line in the passage that talks about buying a larger flock. The boy said that the king did not tell him that when you have money to buy a larger flock, you should buy it. So like I was saying, I'm a daughter of a kinky seller. I have had the privilege to become the first doctor in my family. Is it not enough? I wanted more. I wanted to go back to school and specialize. And I did. Then I finished specializing. I remember one time when I wanted to buy a RAV4 because I was moving to Kaswa and the roads were bad. And I was worried that the Corolla may not survive, or there'll be a day I'll wake up and it will not start. And I remember telling the person I was with at the time that, Charlie, I think I want to buy a big car. Then he was like, why do you want to buy another car? You have a Corolla, are you not satisfied with it? I remember telling him that I want to start a new business. I want to do this, and that. And you look at me in some way and say that, you have a good job working at rate. You have a few locals that bring you extra money. What again are you looking for? That is the mentality a lot of people live with. But I'm here to tell you, like the boy has realized in his own journey, that when you have enough money to buy a larger flock, buy it. You have built one house. You never imagined you could have built a house. But you don't stop there. If you can build 2, build 2. If you can build 5, build 5. You have one business, it is doing well. If you can build another one, if you have the capacity, you have the resources to manage it, why stop there? Build another one. Your marriage is good. It is beautiful. Your husband loves you. Your wife loves you. You are enjoying a good life. But if you can inch it a notch higher, why not? If you can do better for your wife than what you are already doing, if you can do better for your husband, why not? Okay, the king did not lie to the boy. He simply did not go into the nitty-gritties of all the things that were possibly going to happen to the boy on his way to discovering his purpose. And that is the way to go. That is how God deals with us. Because if God or your king or your destiny helper, the one who holds your destiny in his hands, the one who sees the end from the beginning, should tell you all the things that you are going to go through, you would probably never start the journey. I love the person I have become today. I'm so much in love with myself and who I have become and looking forward to who I can be. I'm so confident of the journey that lay ahead of me. I know it's going to be difficult and painful, but I'm looking forward to it. But 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I'm very sure that if God had sat me down and had told me about all the things that were going to happen to me on my journey from that time to today, I know I would have said that, God, it is okay. It is okay. Maybe SS, maybe medical school a year. Why would I want to go through a divorce and go through the pain and the difficulty and the shame that comes with it? Why would I want to go through all the terrible things I've been through in this 43 years of my existence? I have been through some shit, please. I have been through times when I thought I was never going to go through that day. There were nights that were so dark and so long. I thought the day would never break. If God had given me those details, I would have said that, God, I know you love me, but thank you very much, I'll pass. And so when God gives you a purpose, he tells you what the destination is, but he will not give you the details. Your courage will grow, your confidence will grow as you go through the journey. Because at the time that you start, you don't have that courage to endure those hardships. But it comes with every single day. Every day you overcome one tiny obstacle after the other. And as you overcome these tiny obstacles, as you win these small victories, your confidence grows, your character grows, you are refined, your intuition becomes sharper, you learn to hear the voice of God better, your sense of observation is awakened. And the journey is really what makes the man. Your purpose is revealed layer by layer. It's like an onion. There's a layer, then another layer, then another layer. God may never be able to show you all of it. Psalm 119, verse 105. The SU anthem or slogan. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. So a lamp shows you just the next step. It will not show you the whole road. It will show you just what the next step is. And God will call you. He will not explain the hardships along the way in advance. No, he will not. Genesis 12:1. Go to the land I will show you. Or say, Cole, you start going. I'll show you along the way. God did not explain to Abraham that he was going to meet famine, there was going to be conflict, there was going to be delay, there was going to be sacrifice. God did not tell him that his wife was going to suggest that he should sleep with his maid. But all God needed from Abraham was his obedience. On the other hand, he said that he always appeared to help those who are trying to realize their personal legend. This is a continuation of what we read. On the other hand, so God will not tell you all the difficulties and the details of your journey, but he promises that he will always appear at the time you need him. God is our very present help in trouble. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. The old king says that the universe helps people who are sincerely trying to follow their personal legend, their true purpose, their calling. It means that anybody who tries to live the life that they've been called to live, once you are doing that, help seems to come from all kinds of places. The moment you decide to live the life that your Creator, God, intended for you, help will show up from unexpected places. Sometimes it is people giving you advice. Sometimes it is people dropping opportunities your way. Sometimes ideas that people will drop into your mind. Sometimes it is encouragement. Other times it is destiny helpers. People will come into your life from nowhere and they'll bring with them exactly what you need. The skills, the talent, the money, the connections. There are some people, all they will do is to encourage you. They are the people you know you can always lean on, no matter how dark it gets. They are the people you know that everybody will leave you, but you can count on them. Sometimes what you need are difficult life situations that will teach you lessons that no university, no teacher can teach you. The help is not magic. Help is not effortless. Life, the passage we just read means that it does not mean that life will be easy. It does not mean that once God has promised you always be there, there will be no problems, there will be no pain, there will be no disappointment. But what it is saying is that even when there are problems, God will come through for you. Doors will open after you take a step. There are doors that are closed, but they remain closed because you haven't gotten there, you haven't knocked. So you need to take a step and go to the door. And as you walk in faith towards that door, God opens the door. Strength will come when you begin to move. Sometimes we feel we are tired. You don't have the. I remember yesterday, Friday was very tiring for me. And when I got home after work, I spent a lot of hours in the kitchen cooking. You know, yesterday there was a fufu party. So Friday I slept late. I was tired. I was exhausted. And so before I went to bed, I slept around midnight and I told myself that the way I'm tired, I don't think that Saturday morning I can go for my usual walk and prayer. I usually do that between 5 and 6 on weekdays and 6 to 7 on weekends. So I told myself I'm too tired. And when I woke up on Saturday morning, when I opened my eyes, just around 6 o'clock, I was like, oh, although it's true, I'm tired, I need rest. I think that I can still go for this prayer walk. And I got out of bed, dragged myself out of bed, wore my walking clothes. And by the time I descended the stairs to the front door, opened the gate, and started the walk, it was as if I was not the person that was tired. And I walked fast and I prayed, and it was amazing. What am I trying to say? Sometimes what lays ahead of you feels like it is so difficult. You don't have the strength to, but your job is to just start and trust God that He will give you strength to follow through to the end. God helps those walking in purpose. Psalm 37, verse 23. The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord. So you need to be walking, then God will order your steps. If you are not walking, you don't have steps, right? You have to start. Then God will order your steps. Exodus 14, 15, and 16. Before the Red Sea parted, God told Moses, move forward. Your miracle will come after you take the step of faith. Page 283. But I'm going back to the fields that I know to take care of my flock again, he said to himself with certainty. But he was no longer happy with his decision. He had worked for an entire year to make a dream come true, and that dream, minute by minute, was becoming less important. Maybe because that wasn't really his dream. And so when the boy first went to, he decided that, okay, then I'm going to work, get money enough to buy back my flock, because the money that got stolen was money from selling his flock, a sheep. So he's going to work, get money, buy back the sheep, and then go back where he had come from. Initially, he was passing through because he was going after his personal, that was his initial dream, going after his personal legend. But when the disappointment of being robbed came in, then he decided to abandon that original dream and now just to work, get enough money, buy back his flock, and go back where he started from. But this passage is telling us that he's no longer happy with that decision to get his flock and go back. Maybe because that wasn't really his dream. On the surface, him buying the sheep, going back to the life he was used to the routine and comfort, it sounded like a good idea, right? If you've lost it and you regained it, just go and sit down and continue what you are comfortable with. But inside of the boy, something did not feel right. He had worked one whole year to make this dream of buying his flock back a reality. But as the days went by, that target became less appealing, less exciting. He realized something painful, that maybe going back to his flock, to his old life, was not really his dream. And it really was not his dream. His dream was to go find his treasure in Egypt. So although he was very confident about what he was going to do, buy the flock and go back to his life, his heart was not at it. You know, sometimes you can take very logical decisions. That is the most logical thing to do. And yet your heart will not be happy. You know that the best thing to do is to walk away or to disengage from this person or to leave that job. That is the best thing to do, because the way your boss is mishandling and cheating you, that is the logical thing to do. But your heart will not be at peace, because that step, although it's very logical, is against your call. It is against your true purpose. And the boy is at a place where he's confused. Every one of us, there comes a time in our life when we are confused and we are unsure of what to do, which direction to take, what decision to make. And there is always this moment of confusion right before clarity comes. The moment of clarity is always preceded by a moment of confusion, inner battle, inner turmoil. Sometimes your purpose, your dream will lose its appeal or its shine, not because it was wrong in the first place, but because maybe your fear is now speaking louder than your faith. Your fear has grown louder. Sometimes it is because comfort, you have a bit of comfort, and comfort is so tempting, right? Who doesn't like comfort? Madam, easy life. We all want easy life. Sometimes your dreams become less appealing because you have faced so much disappointment that it has wounded and maimed your hope. All I have ever dreamed of was a great marriage. That's all you want. And then you go into one marriage and it's bad and you lose it. By the time you go into a second marriage and you lose that one too, you don't even want to hear anything about marriage. Or you've done a business, why a business back home, I say, second one, your worker stole from you and collapsed the business. How do you even start all over? And sometimes these disappointments, they weaken your hope. They chip at your resolve, and your dream and your purpose and your desire becomes less appealing. Why is the boy no longer happy with the initial decision he made to just make enough money, buy back the flock, and then go back to Andalusia? Maybe because that was not really his dream. Maybe sometimes we live someone else's version of success. Your version of success, your version of fulfilling your purpose is very different from your brother's own. It is very different from your best friend's version of success. And some of us, we compare our lives to other people and we feel that, okay, if Mr. AJ is my yardstick and this is where Mr. AJ has gotten to, then if I also get there, it's okay. I've tried, right? We want to live someone else's version of success. Sometimes we downscale our dream. Our dreams become smaller, Or sometimes we feel that the dream we had before, it no longer fits. You've been divorced once. You've been divorced twice. How do you keep dreaming of being an excellent husband or wife? The natural tendency is for you to downscale your dream and just settle for being single for the rest of it. People change as your calling unfolds. Sometimes what once satisfied you will now begin to feel empty. The thing that once was your obsession, now when you look at it, it may not hold any meaning to you anymore in a positive way. And this emptiness, this lack of excitement over something that once excited you is not failure. It may actually be an invitation for you to grow. It may be because God is calling you to something bigger, something better, something deeper, something more impactful. Your dream was something that was good for 5 people, at best 10 people or 15 people. But God may be calling you to something that was big enough, that is big enough to affect thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions. And that is why something that once was exciting, that once was your end, that was something that you once lived for, will no longer appeal to you, will no longer fit, will no longer sit. And that is why it is so important for all of us to learn to trust in God. The Bible says in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. When I started out in life, one of my biggest dreams was to be a good wife. All my mind was to be a good wife. That was my destination, to my husband and a good mother to my children. Can you imagine? Several years back, that was my highest calling, apart from being an excellent doctor. But as life unfolded, and some of these things got trashed, I realized that there was something more. There was something deeper. There was something more fulfilling. And it is good that I trusted in God. Because when some of these things hit, it is never a glorious thing to lose a marriage. There's nothing honorable about it. But what lies in it is my conviction that no matter what happens to me, I should trust God, because he alone knows the end of my story. What I'm going through may not make any sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to the ordinary man. But like Job said, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Because I know that I can trust in God any day, any time. It does not matter how difficult, how stinking, how bizarre the situation is. My job is to trust God and not to lean on my own understanding. I am trusting thee, Lord Jesus, trusting only you, trusting you for full salvation. Da, 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 da. I am trusting only him. 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 I am trusting only God. And though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Anytime you make a decision that steals your joy, that brings uncertainty into your heart, it deserves that you re-examine that decision. Anything that is your true purpose or calling may be hard, it may be difficult, but it will never make your soul shrink. That is my yardstick. Once it is not making my soul shrink, once I can feel that God is elevating me even in the midst of the chaos, then I know that I'm right where I need to be. It doesn't have to feel good. It doesn't have to be comfortable. I just need to feel the growth in the process. I just need to feel that calm assurance of God's presence with me even as I walk through the storm. Page 307. I guess I don't believe that a king would talk to someone like me, a shepherd, he said, wanting to end the conversation. Not at all. It was shepherds who were the first to recognize a king that the rest of the world refused to acknowledge. So, it's not surprising that kings would talk to shepherds. Here, the boy felt that the Englishman would not believe him when he told him that a king spoke to him. And he felt that way because as a shepherd, he felt small, he felt unimportant, and he would think that why would a king want to talk to somebody like me? Why would this strange Englishman believe that a king actually spoke to me? But for some reason, the Englishman is very learned. He replied in a way that confirms that he knows that status does not undermine your worth. Your status or your station in life, it does not define your worth or who you are. You can be a shepherd, you can be a security man, you can be a cleaner, butler, you can have the lowliest of jobs or position. It has nothing to do with your worth as a human being. And the fact that you are humble, okay, because being a shepherd is a very humble job, does not mean that you are not significant. People who are attentive and people who are open-minded, they are the kinds of people that tend to see truth first before the so-called people who are high up. And shepherds are a typical example of people who are simple. They live in the fields, no WC, no nice house. Their friends are the animals in the bush. They are attentive. Well, they need to be attentive. They need to know when danger is coming. Sometimes the way the animals behave will let them know that there's danger lurking. And they should be able to tell when they are close to source of water. There are some plants, when you see, it means that you are near water. So a shepherd is somebody who lives very simple life, yet they are very attentive to the small details, the important things, but small. And these people tend to see truth very early. Being an ordinary person, ordinary quote and unquote, can actually make you more able to recognize the things that really matter. Shepherds are important in this scenario because shepherds represent people who tend to spend a lot of time alone. If you are somebody who spend, and you know why that when you spend time alone, that is when you spend a lot of time reflecting on your life and the things that happen around you. That is when you talk to yourself. That is when you are in tune with your inner man. That is when you are in touch with God, the God inside of you. That is when you drown out the noise. Because in the midst of people, there is so much noise. The voice inside of you is silent. You don't hear it. Shepherd represents people who observe very carefully. It represents people who listen more than they talk. People who live close to nature and reality. People who are real, who are able to analyze situation and see the reality rather than what is being portrayed. It represents people who are not distracted by pride, power, ego, and all the things that now everybody is scrambling for. And because of this characteristic of shepherds, they tend to notice signs long before other people notice. They tend to notice very subtle things that most people will miss. They recognize truth and they don't need proof. When you are talking to somebody who is a shepherd, you don't need to show him proof. When you talk, if you are telling the truth, he will know. They are not blinded by ego. Their ego is not overfed. Luke 2, 8 to 11. And there were shepherds living out in the fields. An angel of the Lord appeared to them. Shepherds were the first people that the birth of Jesus was announced to. And they recognized a king that the world did not recognize. They were the first. Matthew 11:25. You have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to little children. God will often reveal truths to the humble, the overlooked, the sincere, the marginalized. He will not reveal it to those who are proud. Kings represent authority, destiny, and divine purpose. And shepherds represent humility, readiness, and faithfulness in little things. Authority, destiny, divine purpose converses, meets with humility, readiness, and faithfulness in small things. And this combination is the beginning of great destinies. You should know that your background does not disqualify you. Where you come from is not what will disqualify you. So don't think that enami friha, enami mami sika, enami yese. Don't let the disadvantages of where you are coming from define you. Don't ever assume that the role you are playing makes you invisible. That role in that organization, you feel like you are way down there and so you don't matter. And I've learned the secret of listening to everybody in my life, including people like my house helps and the smallest of persons in my organization, because everybody has something to say that is valuable. Don't ever think that simplicity make people not worthy. Often those who talk the least, those who don't talk too much, they hear God the most. The people who don't have titles, they are the ones that see first. And those who you think are smallest are the ones closest to God's heart, are the ones closest to revelation. The simple takeaway message here is that you don't need to be important to recognize what is important. And sometimes, just sometimes, only the humble can recognize the true king. Only the humble can recognize the true king. And that is where we end our lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have, as always. And I can't wait to meet with you again next week. God bless you.